and welcome to Have You Read Any Good Books? I'm Mavis Applewater, and this is Author Chat. Feel free to click like and subscribe. This week you're in for a real treat. We have author and filmmaker Kim Pritekel. Kim, at the age of 24, published her first novel, which was appropriately titled First. Since then, she has gone on to publish 30 novels and varying genres: historical romance, contemporary romance, and delving a little into the paranormal. This year she published 2 novels. There was She Who Would Be King, and the second in the Destiny series, Daughter of Anaku. I'm not sure I said that right, so bear with me. This coming in January 15th next year, a couple months here, Unmasked Desire. So something really exciting to look forward to, and we are definitely going to get her to talk about that. And now, Kim.
Okay.
And welcome, Kim. Oh, I see your hat. Yes, there we go. Now, full disclosure, this is the second time today we are doing this. We had a stimulating conversation the last time, and it would have been great if I hit record, which I did not.
Well, at least we got caught up, I guess.
We did. We haven't seen each other, as you pointed out, in over 20 years. Like, actually seen each other. We did converse back and forth. I did something for your YouTube channel, which I'll put a link below for that. Which I was literally just gotten back from Alcatraz when we talked, which still recommend you should go there. I can't believe you haven't gone there. And you were on the West Coast because you are also a filmmaker.
Yes.
ASP Films with your business partner. Yeah, ASP Films. With your business partner, Kelly Neal. You guys did Self-Portrait. That was 10 years ago.
Yes.
Say again, I have to refer to my notes. Your first book was
I did go back and look to see which my channel is Kim Pritekel / Ask, because I couldn't remember what we had decided to do with it.
Oh, cool. So you folks can catch up with Kim. She had Scenes with an Author, I believe it was called, where she invited some of us to read scenes from a book, preferably one of ours, our own. Yeah. And that was a lot of fun to do. It really was. And that's actually one of the things that got me thinking about, well, I had the equipment because I am doing audio version of my first book. And I was like, wow. You and someone else had mentioned YouTube, and I'm like, well, maybe we should try that. So we're into it. I'm actually doing 4 more of these this week. So really appreciate you redoing this today.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. You're in Colorado right now, correct?
I'm in Colorado, yes.
I'm assuming it's very cold.
It is. Actually, we just got about 5.5 inches of snow last night.
Oh, I kind of miss snow.
I love snow. We don't, just with the climate change, which, is a hoax, of course.
Love when people say that.
We don't get near the snow that we used to. And it sucks because I love snow, but we were thrilled. We really needed the moisture to get it last night.
The last time someone said that to me, I was still, doing the bar stick. And I said, look, I grew up in the 60s and 70s. I remember 4 seasons, 4 distinct seasons. Now we have 2. I'm just saying, maybe it's not a hoax.
Once in a while, you get like a little half season in there of either spring or fall. Take your pick. Yeah. But I mean, last week we had 70 degrees in Colorado in frickin' December.
No, wow.
That's not even remotely.
It's funny because it wasn't 70 here in southern Nevada. Which somehow
you can take your weather back.
Yeah. No, the weather here, I kind of it's good. I mean, I start to miss the snow, and then I remember how much I shoveled. You have been writing, as we had this discussion earlier today, since you said you were 9 years old.
Mhm.
You published at 24. You had obviously finished things before then. And your first book was First. I mentioned that in the little opening I did for you. You'll see it. It's fabulous. It's a work of art.
Oh, thank you.
Or it's your book covers and me talking. um, and you are currently with Sapphire Books,
Yes.
which, as you learned today, I did interview your publisher, Isabella, who's a gifted writer in her own right.
Hmm.
And you have completed at Publish, you've completed a lot more than this number, 30 novels.
Yes.
And you must be exhausted. I'm seriously 30.
You know, the thing is that I think that when you're born to do something, whether it's cook, whether it's fix cars, whether it's write code for computers, whatever it is, I think when you are really born to do something, that's truly what you're wired to do.
So true.
You know what I
So
mean?
true.
Yeah. I mean, this is truly my passion. It's what I'm here to do.
And you're doing it full time now, which
Mhm.
means the Destiny series has more to come. So it started with She Who Would Be King, and then daughter of him. I'm not gonna, it took me 30 years to say your last name correctly,
I know.
which you had to
Um,
send me a voice text to say, listen, lady, this is how you say my name. So daughter of a Nahu,
Anku.
Aku,
Anku.
Anku.
That's an actual existing Breton god, so I didn't make that up.
Yeah, no, I knew I had seen it before, but like, I'm gonna butcher that for a while.
That's okay.
30 years to get your name right, and we'll get you that book correct. So that was released in October,
Yes.
and She Who Would Be King was released in February, and we have an erotic thriller coming up, which I totally dig that. Looking forward to it on January 15th,
Yes.
Unmasked Desire.
Yes.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about that? I know you did it
Um,
earlier, but so
yeah,
people can actually hear it this time.
it was a dress rehearsal last time.
Mm,
Um, back from my theater days, you know.
yes, yeah.
Unmasked Desire is, yes, it is an erotic thriller, and it is about a woman named Ashton King who she is part of a very old chocolate family. I mean, you know what I mean? It's generations of King chocolate, and now it's kind of her turn to run things, and she ends up at a gentleman's club called the Black Pussycat, which is a high-end gentleman's club for business, and it is basically to try to work out a deal with them as far as some of their chocolate products for their clientele and that kind of thing. Well, there she meets a woman named Pearl, who is one of the women at the gentleman's club, who is kind of it's not a quote unquote brothel per se. Each woman is allowed to kind of take things where she wants,
Mm-hmm.
but basically to make a bunch of rich old guys feel good about themselves for while they're paying exorbitant prices for drinks and cigars, that kind of thing.
And gratuities.
Exactly, yeah, and the women are kind of part of the gratuities, but so anyway, so yeah, it's a very sexy, it's just I love it. I think it's a fun book, but I mean it's deeper than just fun. You know what I mean? But
Right.
it's definitely an erotic thriller for sure. I'd never done one of those before, but I thought, why not? So
Well, you have certainly covered an array of genres. Historic, paranormal, as you know, one of my favorites, and paranormal crime, which I
yes.
love that. It's so cool. Um, Contemporary romance, and you did start out in the fanfic genre doing contemporary romance.
Yes.
And now you get to expand your horizons to so much more. I mean, so much more.
Yeah, the well, I mean, just the Destiny series alone. I
Hmm.
mean, it began with Wishing Who Would Be King, as you said, and then
Yeah.
that is historical romance. I mean, that takes you clear back to 1366. with some action, of course, in there. But the series has expanded. It's historical fiction, it's action adventure, it's mystery, it's paranormal, it's fantasy. I mean, it's there's some time travel in there, so I guess that can count as sci-fi. I mean, it's kind of a I've really hit every single genre just in
Yeah.
this series
You get
alone.
into time travel now, you have speculative fiction.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
So,
it's a genre.
it, it-
Uh, it's it's
so
it's interesting because back in the day we were told you're writing this or you're writing that, and there's no but there is, but
yeah,
but you
black
can.
or white. It's all gray.
No, it's gray. Again, I don't know if you can see this behind me, still since this morning is the artwork from She Who Would Be King, and I just totally dig the artwork on that. It's just very,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I have to read that kind of work. You see that, and you're into it. And you talked about um, you had gone through been shown a couple of covers and went, and when you saw that one,
Oh, yeah, I was just like done. It was so good. I mean, yeah, the covers that I was shown, and I was given about two or three. Just like to me, it was very fairy tale kind of.
right?
And I mean no disrespect in any way to to the graphic artists and whatnot, but it just wasn't right for it. But that one is so strong, and it just pulls you in. It's
It does. It
wonderful.
really does. I mean, and when you see a cover that works, that's it. I
Oh yeah.
over my career have been shown a couple. Went no, 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 no. Yes, okay. Uh,
Ding ding. Yeah.
Stephanie Sullivan Lopez did a couple of my favorites. She did Tempest, the original Tempest, and the original Checkmate, and or the Whispering Pines, which I still use that one. I could still use that one. So yay. And a lot of people don't know
Yeah.
when you move from publishers, don't always get that artwork to go with you.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah,
exactly. It belongs to.
yeah.
Mhm. She did a couple of mine too, actually. She did first,
First,
because
your first novel,
there
which
was a
is entitled First.
there was a second edition that was done with another publisher.
Ah,
Um,
uh,
yeah, so she did the first, and then she also did Storm, which she did a
oh, okay.
phenomenal job in Storm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's very talented.
just good. Actually, I owe my career to her.
Really? Oh, the Academy of
Mhm.
Arts. Yeah, yeah,
Well, not just that. Yeah, the Academy of Bards for sure, but which is, of course, where we did all of our fanfic and all
yeah.
that. But there was a publisher that had talent scouts. Basically, was had their talent scouts looking for new material, and Stephanie was one of them.
Oh, okay. I
And
did not
and
know that.
she brought first to the attention of my first publisher.
First publisher who was the first to publish first, which was your first.
Correct. For the first time, yeah. So yeah,
He,
so Stephanie is completely. I will forever give her credit for
that would
that.
be a really fun drinking game, honest to God.
Who's on first?
Who's on first? What's on second?
Who's on second first? Yeah. So yeah, that's been out of publication now for out of print for a long time.
Oh, okay.
I've considered bringing it back, but I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence for that because I brought some of them back, like Control or not Control. Well, that one came off there, but like 1049 Club and stuff, and I Swan, like Twilight, I republished it as Swan Song and completely revamped it. I
Right,
don't think I would want to touch first, but
right.
I wouldn't want to republish it without touching it. So I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence, but anyway, sorry, I
Well,
digress.
you certainly have a lot of novels either in the works or completed that are just yet
Yes,
to be edited by your fabulous editor, who is Heather. Great name, by the
yes.
way.
I figured you'd like that.
Yeah.
I had nothing to do with it.
Uh, I'll talk to her parents about it.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
Heather, she's phenomenal. Yeah.
and you did mention that. And given your limitations with your eyesight, it's a unique challenge for her to get, but somehow the two of you have worked together for how long now?
3 years. She's
3 years.
been my yeah, she's been assigned to me. I mean, she does other books, and I mean, she's not my soul bitch, but for me with my books, she is my sole editor, and
Yeah.
whereas in the process, the editor would do their magic and then send the manuscript back to the author, filled with all kinds of really ugly marks and comments and things. It's really pain in the butt to have to deal with, but it's just part of it. I can't read those anymore. So Heather, yeah, she does that first pass with it, and then since she knows me so well, she can take care of a lot of the smaller stuff. She knows me now, like what I would go with, what I wouldn't go with, words that I absolutely will not allow her to change things to, things like that. And then we actually do it on the phone for the big stuff that she just, whether it's a sentence change or continuity issue, whatever, a plot point that just isn't working, things that she it's above her pay grade as just changing of to if, or that kind of thing. So
But
so she's phenomenal.
the right
She's a good
teaming
friend,
is
and
so important, and I wanted to mention her again, even though we talked about it earlier, because editors are so essential to the
yeah.
work, and people don't know. It was a great story Kate Sweeney told me once about Nan Dunn was doing a book for her, and she sent her a note. There was a cop talking, and she picked up a donut, and she got a note back. She ever gonna take a bite out of that donut? Because
She's
apparently
gonna
you
hold it.
forget your character picked that up, and then they're standing there having a conversation. 8, 10
And the
pages
thing
later, theoretically, they're still holding the donut.
sprinkles have fallen off. I
Yeah.
mean, well, you had mentioned this earlier, and I was gonna kind of piggyback on what you had said earlier, but we kind of moved on to something else. But as far as what you had said, you really have to have a good relationship with your
Right.
editor. You have to. And I've had editors, like when Lessons came out, which at the time was my best selling book. It ended up being at the
Oh,
time.
right. Yeah.
That's far usurped by now, but I will not say her name.
You don't need to
Oh
do
my god.
that. Yeah.
Oh my god. I literally told my publisher at the time, if you ever send her to me again, I quit. She knew her stuff, and I've had a couple different editors that were similar in what I'm about to say. She knew her stuff as far as edits, but didn't have a clue how a story is told.
Right.
And they're
I
two
think
different things. It's like, ugh.
sometimes it just doesn't work. And I've had the pleasure of working with some very good editors who I would work
Yeah.
with again. I mentioned Nan Don and Tara Young. And recently, my company started working with Nat Burns, who's just a dream come true. I've worked with other editors, and other people have worked with the same editors I have and have been like, I will never work with them again. It's like, so you're not clicking. And if you're not clicking, and it's just a very personal relationship, no matter how talented you are and they are, sometimes
Mhm.
it just doesn't work. It's like
Oh,
dating, you know?
yeah. That's a really great analogy, and I've used that analogy before too. I mean, you both can be great people, but you just don't mesh.
Yeah, it's not going to work. Your children would be
No
idiots. Move
wedding
on.
bells.
Now, you told me that you actually, before becoming a full-time writer, which I'm very happy you are doing,
Thank you.
you were kind of almost homeless and
Mhm.
not writing.
Yes, in 2000, I stopped writing novels in 2010 because I was hardcore working in the film industry and I just didn't have time.
Right.
But from 2010, I wrote Zero Word. I love that book, favorite of mine. Anyway,
It's fabulous. Yeah.
thank you. I just Kate and Danny. Anyway, Danny's come back, had cameos in several books since then, by the way.
Oh, I did not
Um.
know that.
Anyway, so but yeah, my life completely imploded around 2011, 2012. Actually, right around the time I got with Sapphire. And I mean, I wasn't living under a bridge, but I was living truly solely through the kindness of family and friends for about 3 years. It was awful, and I didn't write a word. And I mean, luckily, I had enough manuscripts in the hopper that I was still publishing, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but I wasn't writing anything new. So between 2010 and 2016, I didn't write one novel.
And
Um,
for you who writes constantly, I mean, the 6 year gap is just frightening.
it's massive. That's a lifetime. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, like I mentioned to you earlier, last night I literally finished my 16th novel of this year.
of this year.
Yeah, so imagine how many novels. Well, I mean, granted that I didn't write this much. About 3 novels a year, 2 to 3 novels a year was my average
Mm-hmm.
back during that time. So that's 9 novels, or 6 times 3. That's 12 novels that didn't get written. Wait, can I count? Yeah. Anyway, there's a bunch of novels that didn't get written. Um, but yeah, I mean, it just, and then once I got my life back together in 2015, 2016, I just exploded. And
There you
because of
are.
what I had gone through, my writing actually got better. It got deeper, and I went through a bit of an identity crisis for a while, as far as a writer goes.
Yeah.
Um, because I had written romance for so long, and it didn't do it for me for a bit. And so, my publisher, Sapphire, they were so patient with me. And I've given them credit for that so many times. In that's when I wrote psychological thrillers and paranormal and some mystery and things that I had really never done before. Um, and she just really let me spread my wings. Circled right back to romance, because ultimately I figured, quite honestly, that's what readers want. But
Yes.
also, I enjoy it. And once I kind of got over my own way, out of my own way,
Mm-hmm.
I realized that it's okay. You can write romance, you can enjoy it. But
Yes.
yeah, but to me, it's never been just romance, since it's always romance and
And
paranormal or history, or you know what I mean. So I think that's the ingredient that I was missing. Like you said, it was one thing or it was another, not together.
yeah.
It just wasn't a challenge for me anymore.
But you have so many interests yourselves now as a psychic medium yourself. You worked with ghost tours investigations back when you were in Denver,
Yep.
and, and you haven't found that niche yet. But I mean, that emotionally and psychologically takes a lot out of you physically, just your gift. But it
Well, it
also,
does. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
but also inspired you.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, a lot of it was 2008. I kind of, I always had my gifts of being psychic and all that, but I didn't understand them. And
Hmm.
as a child, for various reasons, I just really couldn't explore that. But I guarantee you, you can't you can't get rid of it. I tried. And then 2008, I pretty much exploded out of the spiritual closet, as it were.
Hmm.
And to try and understand myself, I actually wrote my first paranormal novel, which was After Shadow,
Hmm.
and it was about a medium named Clara, who, if I could write my own experiences of what was happening to me, then if I could get a reader to understand it, then it helped me to understand it. And it just kind of went from there. And so, I mean, I've only written maybe 4 like really like hardcore paranormal stories.
Right.
Um, but now, as I've gotten, 15 years later, that I really understand my gift, and it's extremely strong. It's I'm actually been able to lace little bits of it in every book that I write, whether you realize it's there or not.
And a little bit of, as writers do, a little bit of themselves in there. And you got to use your love of it and your gift to blend that with crime in the gift. Where
Yeah, yeah,
I love how
yeah.
these titles are really working. It brings it
I
just
know.
nice segue in the gift. Speaking of gifts, now that's an exciting story. You've got the whole paranormal, you got the victims helping the detective. I mean, it's a great read. So if you haven't read it, you should, folks.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that cover too, man. That, oh
that was a
man,
good cover.
that one. Yeah, they nailed that one. I had nothing to do with that, because usually I have input in it, but she brought that to me, and I was like, I love that cover. So good.
Yeah.
In your face.
All right. I'm trying to remember what we talked about before. We had a great chat this morning.
We did.
Yeah, we
Great chat.
did. Yeah, and it's been a couple decades since we've been able to do that. Okay, so coming out in January 15th, get back to Unmasked Desire, but you have more coming out in 2024, I suspect.
I literally have a calendar with Sapphire through 2026.
Oh, so we have a lot more to look forward to.
Yeah, how many more do you have to do?
Yeah, well, you just
Um,
finished your 16th novel of the year. I just
yeah.
really feel I feel like so far behind. Um,
Yeah, it's not well, I my publisher publishes 4 books a year from me.
mhm,
Um, so yeah, so in January I will have Unmasked Desire, which is a standalone.
right.
Because I also have another series, the Winter series, which
Okay.
that one, the Destiny series is where you literally have to read one, book one, and then go to book two, and then go to book, you know what I mean? It is a series. Whereas
Right.
Winter, you could read them, you could start at number 4 or number 5 or number
Oh,
2 or number
cool.
1, and you wouldn't be confused.
See, I like
Um,
that standalone. Yeah.
yeah, because reading them sequential is actually it's a much more amazing read, I think. But the town Winter is really the connective tissue. You know what I mean? It's a new set of MCs for every book, but the old ones are still around.
Sweet.
Um, yeah, so book 6 for that series comes out in April, and that's Having Honor. And then
Okay.
Destiny book 3, Doors, comes out in July. I'm super excited about that one.
So April having honor, July doors.
And then I don't remember what the fourth one is this year or next year. I think it's Shadow Dancer, but I'm not positive. I don't
Well,
remember.
at this point, you must be getting confused. But such a great mix of everything,
Mhm.
and to do writing screenplays, you talked about. And I make this quick because I'm watching a counter go down, telling me how much time we have left now. Um, you had gone out to back and forth to LA, working on a
Mhm.
screenplay with someone you had met on a film set, and when someone pulled out. So you had met a stunt woman when at one of the Bard cons.
Yep, 2005. I met a woman named Gail who was a stunt woman out of Florida, and we just hit it off. And I just knew I had never worked in film before. I've always been obsessed with films, but I'd never ever done anything in film before that. And I told her before that weekend ended, so we're gonna end up working together. And she's just kind of like, yeah, and we did remain in contact as friends. And then she called me a year later and was working on kind of a historic, kind of like Lord of the Rings, where it's history but not our history.
Right.
Kind of a made up world. And she was stunt woman on that. And she called me up and she said, their screenwriter walked off the project. Are you interested? Oh yeah, and well, so she put me in touch with the director. And have you ever written a screenplay before? Yep, sure have.
Had you?
No.
Did you know how to?
No.
Were you
I never
googling
even read.
how to write a screenplay?
I'd never even read a screenplay. So I had to quickly buy the program, and
Hmm.
it is not easy to write a screenplay. It's like using a whole different part of your brain. It's crazy. So I spent the weekend. I had like 2 days to get it done. I got it
Wow.
done. Yeah, and because they were filming. They were in the middle of filming when this happened. The screenplay wasn't done. So it was a big cluster for them. So they flew me out to St. Augustine, Florida. They were filming at the fort. I forget what it's called, but that old Spanish fort.
Yeah, I know the fort.
It's incredible. Oh my god, I've never been there. Haunted. Holy cow, haunted. Anyway,
Oh yeah, it's one of the most haunted cities.
so cool.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
anyway, so that was my first experience, and I met a guy, an actor, one of the actors on the project, and he and I just hit it off. And so he flew me out to LA about 6 months later, and I stayed with him for 2 weeks, and we just wrote. It was just nose to the grindstone. Got entire screenplay written in that 2 week period of time, from the ground up. And so then I ended up writing with him quite a bit, and wrote for a production company for a little bit. So I did that for about 3 years. back and forth between Colorado and LA and Florida. I did worked on some shorts out there, wrote for some people, and
Awesome.
so it was a busy 3 years.
It sounds like it. Well, I hate to do this, and I really appreciate you filming twice in one day.
Of course, I don't mind.
So I want to let everyone know Sapphire Books. I'm going to put some links below if I do it correctly. We all know I'm not a technical genius. Kim's YouTube site and your website, your personal website is kimpritekel.com, which I will also put the link down because you sent me an audio of how to say your name.
You did good. You got
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I have it written out phonetically. Okay, well, thank you so much, Kim. And looking
Absolutely.
for your next release, Unmasked Desire, at fine booksellers everywhere. All right, and thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.